the thing about the Stop Trump, first of all, it's insane. It's unbelievable that the Republican Party is trying to torpedo the guy who's ahead in its primaries. I mean, that alone is yet another amazing thing. But I mean,
and making them the biggest show on earth right now.
Yeah, I mean, Trump is like the Joker. He may just be content to stand there and watch it all burn. So, imagine at some point where the Stop Trump starts to get a little too close to him, or he just decides to get pissed off and he says, the hell with all you people, I'm going to be an independent. I mean, at that point, there's no value in the Republicans even bothering to continue the campaign into November. I mean, we might as well just elect Hillary at that moment, and kind of get a head start on things. Because
maybe it's a conspiracy.
If Trump were to pull his support away, there won't be enough Republicans left to vote to beat the Democrat. So he holds a lot of cards here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this Wednesday. It's just stunning how openly the establishment Republicans are now hoping for a contested convention. Josh, when has a contested convention ever gone well for the party?
Mitt Romney said today he would go, I forget who he was speaking to, someone on Bloomberg, but he said that he would vote third party if it was Trump-Hillary. That's huge. But, I mean, you have the prior nominee of the party.
It's one of the reasons that the primary schedule is set up the way it is to prevent exactly this kind of scenario where a possibility of a contested convention, and now the party is literally wishing on itself the worst thing that could happen at a convention. All right, well, let's talk about the math of this. If Trump doesn't win Ohio and Florida, which are both winner-take-all states, there's a good chance that Trump doesn't reach the necessary amount of delegates he needs to win, because after that, if he loses both of them, he'd need 2/3 of the remaining delegates. He's probably going to win Florida, though. It looks like he's up by almost 20% in some polls there. He's in a virtual tie with John Kasich in Ohio. So if he wins Florida and loses Ohio, it'll be a little tough for him to reach that number, but it's a little more realistic than if he loses both. Josh, forget the plot to overthrow him. How likely is it that we're just going to see this number not get hit this time around?
Well, it's funny because I have two answers. I have what my brain tells me. But then I have to think that, like everything else in this election, what you do is you figure out what the worst possible scenario is, and that's usually what happens. So I would bet we will be faced with a slim win by Kasich, loss for Rubio in Florida. And the real question is, if Rubio, I don't know, how is Kasich, is he polling at all in Florida? Does he have any?
Not that close, and it's a winner-take-all state, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, because what I was thinking is that, like, maybe if it looks like when Ohio, Rubio's going to lose Florida, Rubio falls on his sword for the party to save his future and tries to get them to rally around Cruz or Kasich. Again, shake your head because this election has gone exactly like planned. I mean, it's fan fiction time. If you want to,
I'm not mocking the prediction. I'm just laughing at the idea of everything that's happening right now.
Yes, I honestly think it's going to be just weird and ugly, and it's we think we're going to know what it's going to look like after the 15th, and we're not. We're going to be still in this haze of fear and humor until the convention, I think. I mean, that's
maybe. But how about this scenario? Trump wins Florida, which is a significant pile of votes, and then Kasich does win Ohio. He's very popular there, and then a deal gets made. Kasich knows he's not going to be president of the United States, and Trump says to him, how'd you like to be Attorney General? And what I want are you to pledge your delegates to me. Whether I don't know if that's going to be done formally or has to be done at the convention, whatever the process is, and Kasich decides to trade the little he's got for something big. And at that point, then you really do have a scenario through the convention that is Trump.
That's a really great point, and I think that's something that hasn't gotten mentioned nearly enough, is that if the Republicans do get their wish and get a contested convention, they think they're going to win. I mean, first of all, to even do that would probably hand Hillary the nomination, but at what point in this race has the Republican Party gotten anything at once? So it's laughable to think that, oh, we're just going to steamroll Trump, who, for all his faults, is not the worst negotiator.
Oh, and like everyone will wake up at the convention and be like, oh yeah, we should. What's that game theory thing? The prisoner's dilemma. That's what this is. We're seeing that in play. It's when you have like two people who are in jail, and if they both just agree to not say anything, they'll come out better than if one of them confesses. So like it's basically saying that even though all good sense says you should work together, you don't. That it's in your best interest to work together. People still keep looking for their self-interest, and that's what's going to happen with Rubio. And that's why you were laughing and shaking your head when I said Rubio's going to make a deal to pledge his delegates to Kasich or vice versa. Because if they were going to do that, they had fucking done it already. The world is on fire right now.
I agree with what you're saying, Josh. I was laughing at the fact that if we were to go a year ago and think that this party would rally behind Ted Cruz, how crazy that would be. But it's true. It's probably what's going to try to happen.
Well,
let's
slow down. Ted Cruz is so unpopular, they're literally talking about drafting Paul Ryan or Mitt Romney. I mean, that's how bad it's gotten for the party. They have to look outside of the candidates that they already have, even though they started with 17. They started with 17, and they still can't find a candidate that any of them want. Trump today dropped out of CPAC, the big annual conservative convention. He was supposed to speak Saturday. He says he couldn't make it because he had to give a speech in Wichita, which his campaign says in a state called Canassus. Why do you think Trump pulled out of this event after all this talk about how he's going to be the big unifier of the party?
Trump doesn't really care to be part of the party. I mean, this is just a convenient vehicle for him. He's smart enough to know that, the Democrats don't want any newcomers at this point. They've got Hillary. And he's smart enough to know that independent is a really crappy way to run for president, at least from the beginning. And so, he's attached himself to this Republican process because that's the most convenient platform that's been available to him. And he's decorated himself as a conservative because that also matches, some of his stuff, particularly the white anger part. That's where the angry white men live. But I mean, Trump's commitment to any of these things is so shallow. It's his commitment is to Trump. And so if CPAC doesn't seem like a happy place for him to be, well, fuck him, and he'll go someplace else.
Well, this is a guy who's already somewhat starting to work on a general election strategy, and he's going to forget Democrats and independents. He's going to have to win over Ted Cruz voters. Josh, why not go to CPAC? Why go to Canassus?
First of all, I think because the discovery of Canassus is one of the biggest discoveries that Trump has ever brought to our country, and we should thank him for that. I think it should be made a state immediately, and the primary should be at the end of April. Now, I think that CPAC is weird because there's already been a kind of like thing in the Republican Party about CPAC. Like a lot of your more, sometimes like your more moderate Republicans, such as they are, and your real extreme ones are both kind of sick of CPAC. It's kind of like how nerds are about Comic-Con now. They're like, oh, it's too mainstream. So that's already part of it. But you would think with Trump's conservative credentials being under question that he would go to CPAC and, just bring the house down. But I mean, so this move, again, no fucking idea why he even would consider putting out a hastily written press release to drop out of CPAC. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Lost Iowa.
What got him more press today? Going to CPAC or saying he wasn't going to go?
And to be fair, CPAC, I can easily see him spinning that as like the donor class and the establishment, even though they're supposed to be like they were the insurgents before he got in the race. But yeah, I think that
4 or 5 straight years also.
Yeah, so I think that maybe it's a I'm bucking the establishment play, because there's definitely people there who are going to be taking shots at him. So I think rather than try to stand up to that kind of onslaught and deliver a successful retort, he's just going to walk away and say, establishment trying to stop your boy Trump, but I'll be in Kansas with with real Americans.
Not Canada. Don't say Canada.
I think one of the ironic things is that he's really being hit hard and being forced to explain how he's going to unify the party. Meanwhile, the party is out there completely disavowing their own frontrunner, and yet no one's asking them how they're going to unify a party after they buck the guy who won almost every state before the convention.